everybody, welcome to another FAQ Monday. I am your host, Fluff, and this week we will have lots of explosions and special effects and CG. I wish I could honestly say we had CG and explosions. That would be awesome. How cool would it be if we had like FAQ Explosion Mondays? Are you with me here? I need to work on that. Does anybody do special effects out there? At any rate, before we get to the first question, I'm going to actually give away some stuff at the end of this video after the suggestion of the week. So please stay tuned. It's going to be pretty cool and hopefully a semi-regular thing. I don't think it could be a regular thing, but it's going to be a semi-regular thing of giving stuff away. I hope. First question. Hey Fluff, did you ever learn music theory? I don't know what you would really define as music theory. I know basic chords. That's about all I know. And I know the basic pentatonic scale in like 1 or 2 positions, and that's it. When I started out playing guitar, it was the grunge era. It was full tilt boogie, doing the grunge thing. It was, you know, the Seattle area, 1993, and shredding was so uncool then. And my guitar teacher was a gentleman named Dave Ferguson, who I used to go and see for about 6 months when I first started playing guitar at Ted Brown. I think it was Ted Brown. No, it was not Ted Brown Music. It was a real small private music store in Federal Way, Washington, and I wish I knew where Dave was. The last I heard, he moved down to Portland to sell RVs. But he was an amazing guitar player, and he just had the gift, and he had the ear, and he was such a wonderful teacher, and he would break things down so eloquently, and he had severe gear acquisition syndrome. He would eat top ramen and spend all his money on a 62 Jaguar or, you know, things like that. And yeah, I've thought about taking lessons often. Thought about it more lately because I think it's really potentially inhibited my creativity. On the other hand, it has let me be creative in ways that I don't think I would have been creative had I learned music theory, because I have a lot of people go, oh wow, that's really interesting, you did this technical thing here, and I go, I don't know, it just sounded good. So no, I don't know any music theory, I just play completely by ear, but I might change that in the future. When are the new pickups coming out? Wow, you guys really pick up on stuff on the social media area, don't you? I had briefly mentioned that I am working on a new signature pickup, something totally different from the beard combers. The beard combers are not going away or anything like that, but I think I want something a little bit more mid-gain, something that is more suited for clean tones and something that can make getting clean tones a little easier. And they're going to be called the Old Imperials, and they're in the prototype stage, and I'm going to be getting the prototype set from Fastback any day now. And of course, I will update you guys on any info that I have, and they're gonna be cool, I promise. Why do you prefer DiMarzio clip locks over Schalers or Dunlop Straplocks? My love affair with DiMarzio clip locks strap deliciousness started back when I used to play in a hardcore punk band called All in All back in the day, and our shows would get kind of crazy and our singer would jump out in the crowd and all that stuff, and I used to have a problem with the Schaller Straplocks and the Dunlop Straplocks pulling out of the guitar. And a common fix for that is getting a longer screw, for example. But you have to grind the perimeter of the head smaller to fit in the recessed hole of the straplock buttons. And I got tired of doing that one day, and I saw a picture of someone in a Guitar World when I was like 14, and they had the clip lock, and I tried it, and you know, I could put as long a screw as I wanted to into the guitar to hold it and make sure it didn't pull out, and I never looked back. And over the years, you know, for a long time it was just my Strat, my 94 Strat that I used to gig with all the time, and my backup Ibanez. Those were the only guitars I had for, you know, 10 or 12 years. And then over the years, every time I'd get a guitar, I would just, you know, buy the extensions so I could use the same strap on that guitar, and it kind of grew, and now I'm pretty much married to the DiMarzio clip lock. My buddy Jason Burns makes fun of me because he says, you know, every guitar looks like it's being played in the 80s, and I don't have a problem with that. I love the straps, and DiMarzio makes great stuff, especially the accessories. I really want to go decadent one of these days and get that Italian leather clip lock that's like $60, like a $60 strap. It seems really excessive. I'll do it one day though, just you watch. Hey Fluff, just a general question. What would you say are your top 3 favorite pickup sets you have used? I want to begin experimenting with changing out pickups, so I'm curious, what are great sets to get? That is a good question, and unfortunately with changing out pickups and trying pickups is most of the time you have to buy them. That's why I always try to include DI files with most of the pickup demos I have done within, I think starting in the last year and a half. So if there's anything that I have ever demoed that you are curious about, you can download the DI files and reamp them if you know how to reamp through your own rig and see and get a general idea of how it sounds. Of course, each pickup is going to sound a little different in another guitar, but still it'll give you definitely a ballpark idea of how they sound. As for top 3 favorite sets, first would have to be my beard comber sets, just because that was the one pickup that I had ultimate input on, and I was able to go, here's exactly what I want, how I want it, and therefore it is one of my favorite pickups just because I got to design it and it was awesome. Second runner-up are the Lace Dissonant Aggressors. Just a brilliant pickup set. Bill Kelleher from Mastodon did a wonderful job on designing these, and I believe Lace told me it took like 6 or 7 prototype sets before they finally settled on the final product, which is cool. You know, he really knew what he wanted and he did a great job. They're a little bit warmer than the beard combers, but they have a really good solid mid-range, which I really like, and they add a lot of punch, and they're not too hot. And lastly, the Mojo Tone PW Hornets, Paul Wegner's signature model from Mojo Tone, astounded me. I couldn't believe the clarity and the punch that those pickups had. Those are the same pickups that my guitar tech Mark Stockwell from Stockwell Guitars called me when he first installed them and said, hey man, these pickups are incredible. What are these again? And I went, they're just PW Hornets. I've never tried them. I don't know anything about them. They're from Mojo Tone. They sent them over, and he's like, dude, you got to hear these things. These things are unbelievable. And they are, and they will probably find a permanent home in one of my Gibsons that I've recently acquired. So there you go, 3 sets. Check them out. All of those pickups are super awesome. I see a lot of sludge metal influence with a lot of your riffs. What do you think? You know, with the sludge and the doom genre, I never actually listened to a lot of those bands until recently, in the past few years, 3-4 years. But prior to that, no, I was completely unaware of the genre, and I just didn't know that was an entire thing. I knew about Down, and I had Down's second record when it came out. I had no idea that was an actual genre. And keep in mind, this is pre-internet, or, you know, very early internet, so you couldn't exactly go to, you know, sludgemetal.com or something like that and have all these bands exposed to you. You just didn't know about a lot of those bands, and you would simply go off whatever the singer's band t-shirt he was wearing, and you would go and check them out and discover them, and that's how that used to work. And I think the common thread there is all of us used to listen, or still do listen, to Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath was a huge influence on pretty much anybody who plays anything heavy. And chances are I probably just listen to a lot of the same stuff that the sludge metal and the doom metal bands are. You know, I'm sure Kirk Weinstein from Crowbar and Down listened to Black Sabbath just as much as I did. My old man used to blast Black Sabbath records when I was a very young child, about 3, 4. I remember as soon as my mom would go to the grocery store, he would crank up a Black Sabbath record very loudly, and I remember covering my ears and liking it, but thinking it was just way too loud. So nope. But I really do enjoy bands from Louisiana, NOLA, and that kind of thing. The whole scene, Down, Crowbar, I Hate God, all that kind of stuff. It's all fantastic, and I love it. Are grot boxes worth the investment? I'm on the fence about one. Your wisdom would be appreciated. For those of you who don't know what a grot box is, they're also commonly called monocubes. And I do have one. It's from Behringer. It's called the Baritone. It's just like $100 unit, and they are made to sound crappy, essentially. And the reason for these is you want to account for playback devices that aren't exactly that great. For example, cell phone speakers or laptop speakers or something like that. And they'll also give you a real honest image of what your mix is doing in a mono setting. And for example, how that's useful is if you pan your guitars too wide, if you use like a stereo widener on your master bus or something like that, and you switch to mono, your guitars will disappear completely if you're not careful. So that'll give you a good idea of what the actual true levels are, and it removes all of the mud, and it sounds like an AM radio. It sounds terrible, and it's meant to. And I do use one. I use the Behringer Baritone. It's like $100. It's cheap. It's not the Aventone one. And people argue, oh, that one's way better than the Baritone. And my argument is, well, they're made to sound crappy. I mean, who cares? So I would say get one if you really are concerned about how your mixes are going to translate into other mediums and playback devices. But work on, decent monitors and a decent setup first, and I would get that last because I don't think it's a huge priority that you get one. There's also mono plugins that you can use on your DAW, and that'll simulate a mono image, but it's not a true mono image. But it's cool to have. It's a great tool, but it's not an absolutely essential tool. But if you can get one cheap, definitely get one. And now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for my suggestion of the week. Here comes a bad graphic. My suggestion of the week this week is a YouTube channel to check out called Spectrasound Studios, and it's just an amazing, amazing channel. It's hilarious. Glenn is in all the videos, and he has so much metal producing and metal production experience. But the awesome thing about his videos is they're so brutally honest and so hilarious. And I think you guys would really, really enjoy his channel. You should check him out right here, or go down into the description and click that link and give him a sub and tell him Fluff says hello, because it is just brilliantly funny stuff. Now it's time to give away some cool stuff. This week, we are going to give away a bunch of AnyTune app codes, unlock codes, for the full version of the app that I talked about a few weeks ago called AnyTune, that allows you to slow down a song, learn it, speed it back up, or you can also speed up a song if you'd like. And the fine folks at AnyTune want to hook you guys up and let you guys really take it for a spin. So comment down below, I would like to try AnyTune. And next week, I will pick, 5 or 10 winners here in this space next week. And you guys will PM me, and I will give you guys unlock codes courtesy of the fine folks at AnyTune. And I think that's pretty cool of them to do that. They contacted me and said, hey, thanks for the plug. We would like to give your viewers some free apps. And I said, that's awesome. I'm sure they would appreciate that. So thank you, AnyTune, and thank you for watching FAQ Monday. Again, I'm your host, Fluff. If you have a question, please feel free to leave it down below in the comments, or if you want to do it anonymously, ask on my Ask FM account thing. I'll see you next week.